AI will take your job in business intelligence if you're not using AI tools to work more efficiently. No doubt. I'll say it one more time. AI will take your job if you're in business intelligence and you're not using artificial intelligence tools to work more efficiently. So here's the deal. Everybody's asking, why am I teaching business intelligence? Why are my students in business intelligence? Why am I coaching business intelligence? Here's the deal, man. Business intelligence is here to stay. Business intelligence is here to stay, at least for the next 30 years. At least for the next 30 years as we know it, okay? I'm gonna give you a short history lesson. I'm gonna give you a short history lesson because you really don't understand. You're like, artificial intelligence is gonna take my job. Why would I wanna learn artificial intelligence? It'll just take my job. No, here's the thing. AI is everywhere, man. AI is everywhere. It's in every industry. But the thing is, every industry doesn't necessarily know right now how to utilize artificial intelligence to maximize efficiency. But it's coming. But here's the deal. If you know how to maximize your job using artificial intelligence tools, you don't have to worry about artificial intelligence taking your job, okay? Look, I'm repeating myself. Here's the thing. So let's just go back to the early 1800s. I believe what was it? I believe like 1804. I want to say it was the locomotive. I think the locomotive was created. The train was created in 1804, okay? Now, maybe it was created in 1804, maybe it was the year before, maybe it was the year after. Hell, I don't know. I'm not a history teacher or a real big history buff. I kind of like history just a little bit, but for the most part, just if you want to do a little bit of research, go ahead on. But I know it was like in the 1800s, early 1800s, when the train came into play, the locomotive, okay? Now, what the locomotive allowed, what it introduced was a form of transportation, whether it be human, whether it be transporting people or whether it be transporting goods. It gave a direct form of transporting goods or people from one location to another location. Okay, and it allowed that transportation allowed it to happen. That vehicle of transportation allowed it to take place a lot faster than just the horse and buggy, than just taking a horse and buggy or riding a horse, from Wichita to Kansas City. Okay. Now, with that said, was there some threat of the horse and buggy? Yeah, there was some threat of the horse and buggy. But at the end of the day, the horse and buggy still was around for a little while the train was taking place. Everybody couldn't even afford a train ticket. Where am I going with that? Where are you going with that, T, you ask? What I'm telling you is revolutions take place about every, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a number out there and say probably about every 40 years. About every 40 years a revolution takes place, okay? Now, with that said, understand that was like right at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, okay? What we're into right now is the artificial intelligence, the AI revolution, right? We witnessed probably in the last 3 years after ChatGPT got released, I don't know, maybe about 3-4 years ago. All of a sudden, we had probably 5, 10, 15, 20, and now it may be even 100 different artificial intelligence tools that we can probably just write down real quick, right? So where I'm going with that is we can't run from history, man. We can't run from artificial intelligence. It is here to stay, but it's not going to take your job if you're in business intelligence. Unless you're not able to utilize the business intelligence tool more, if you're not able to find a business intelligence tool to utilize within your business intelligence career to become more efficient. I'm not going to tell you which one to use. Now, when it comes to my course, Power with the BI, shameless plug, when it comes to my course, yeah, we do have an artificial intelligence section where I show you how to use some of the mainstream artificial intelligence tools in order to be more efficient in business intelligence. In addition to, I have my own artificial intelligence apps that are proprietary just to Power of the BI, to where my students and my mentees are able to utilize the apps that I've created in order to become more efficient. Guys, I keep telling you, it's about efficiency. Artificial intelligence allows you to become more efficient. Now, you're probably saying, oh, well, just wait, you'll see. Artificial intelligence is going to take your job. No, man, because it's not that I'm just super duper good at what I do, even though I am, okay? It's just a matter of me understanding history. So artificial intelligence will take your job if you don't understand history. I need a little drink real quick. Artificial intelligence will take your job if you don't understand history. And what do I mean by that? It's not just the locomotive. I mean, so right around approximately 1804, there was a locomotive in the Industrial Revolution. And then as part of the Industrial Revolution, the car was invented somewhere around 1885, somewhere around in there. I believe it was Carl Benz. I believe it was Carl Benz that invented the automobile somewhere around 1885. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, no, Henry Ford invented the car. No, that's just because you're in the United States and you're taught American history. That's not true. That's not true. What Henry Ford did, Henry Ford created a car that was more affordable. It was affordable for, I'm not going to say the common person, but those that had the means of being common, if that's even a term or a box to put someone in. It was more affordable to the Ford Model T was more affordable than the cars that Carl Benz put on the lot. Hell, even today, the Ford is a little bit more affordable for the common person than what was created by Carl Benz. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? But where I'm going with that is nothing about the car. It's just understanding the history that there was a locomotive that was transporting people. Then there was a car that was invented, the locomotive sometime around the early 1800s, and then sometime around the late 1800s, then there was the car, okay? That didn't stop trains from being in existence. As a matter of fact, we still have trains. We still have trains, and they still transport people, they still transport goods. As a matter of fact, some trains now are built within, major metropolitan cities so that people could have can have public transportation, right? That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, right? It's not, the car didn't stop the train from being in existence, right? The car didn't stop the train from being in existence. And then the Wright brothers created the airplane and quote unquote, I guess, invented the airplane in the early 1900s. That didn't stop the car from being in existence. That didn't stop a need for the automobile industry. That didn't stop the need for the locomotive. Oh, that didn't stop the need for the locomotive industry. Okay? I just dropped all my water. I just dropped all my water on the floor, but I'm not gonna stop. Because I'm on a roll right now and I'm feeling good. I get this water up later. I'm feeling good. But so here's the thing. Artificial intelligence. We're in the artificial intelligence revolution. There are certain things that you're going to be able to certain artificial intelligence tools that you can use within your industry, right? And what I'm saying is, in business intelligence, artificial intelligence is not here to take away the need of a person creating business intelligence reports. Reason being, AI does not think. Now, can someone program the creation as they're developing artificial intelligence, however it's created? Yeah, but it takes someone to even think to do that. To create a business intelligence report, you have to think, right? Now you say, well, our company used this tool and it's got business intelligence already built in. That could be true. As a matter of fact, I teach Power BI. And Power BI does have Copilot already built in. But you know what? I can type into Power BI, into the Copilot prompt, and say, hey, give me a report give me a report for this. Give me, let's just call it a financial, just give me a financial report. Give me an income statement. Give me a balance sheet. Give me the revenue and expenses for this. I can type that prompt in and it'll give me a decent Power BI report, but it's not going to be customized, right? Companies need reports that are customized for their particular company. Not necessarily just their industry, right? Or not just some generic report that's created because there is an app within this particular software that allows a report or some type of dashboard to be created. And the reason why I even stutter or even talk even slower when I think about this is because it's just not. In order to create a Power BI report, in order to create I'm not just going to say just a Power BI report, in order to create a business intelligence report, and for it to be fully customizable, you have to think about what this company really needs, what your company really needs, what does your company really want to see, or what does your department even want to see, or better yet, even more specific, what does your manager want to see? And if you own the company, you want to see, what is really going on in all of the departments within your organization. You don't give 9 flips about all of the different bells and whistles and gadgets that this particular software says that it can do because it can produce business intelligence reports. Now, if you want to change that, you're not going to talk to the computer and say, oh, hey, or you're not going to talk to the prompt and say, oh, can you give me, it probably can give you something very similar to the prompt that you're asking, but it's not going to give you the exact specificities, if that's a word. I think somebody told me that one day. Specificities. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, in order to be a good Power BI developer, you got to be able to customize a business intelligence report. Okay. That's what I teach. That's what I give my students, right? That's what I give the companies that I work for and work with, the consultations that I give them. I'm like, hey, you tell me what you're looking for. When it comes to the company, tell me what you're looking for. What is your bread and butter? What really makes your company tick? Okay. Then I go out and do a little research on the company. Maybe go to the website and maybe check out their 10K or their 10Q and see, how business has been going and what the investors are really looking for. And then go through the website and see what they're really trying to tell the customers that they actually provide as a service. Then what I do is I go in and I build out a custom Power BI report. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't necessarily need to know how to code in order to be a Power BI developer. But in order to be a good Power BI developer, there are some basics that you do need to know when it comes to coding. And that's what I teach in my course. I teach some very basic, I teach the very basics of what you need to know when it comes to coding, so that when we get to the AI portion of the course, then I'm able to say, hey, now you already know how to do X. But if we take that and put that into X or Y AI tool, we'll be able to operate more efficiently and more effectively. What does that mean? We can work faster. We can work faster and not have to think as hard. We just need to have the general knowledge of what we're trying to do, and then give that to the AI tool in a prompt, and boom, we're off to the races, right? It's just that simple. It's just that simple. But it's a matter of knowing it's a matter of knowing your history. If you don't know your history, artificial intelligence is going to take your job. I'm going to say that one more time. If you don't know your history, artificial intelligence is going to take your job. Listen, so here's the thing. Waymo. I've never taken Waymo. For what I understand, I've never been in a Waymo, but for what I understand is Waymo is just like an Uber, but you get into the car, but it's not a driver. It's an independent car, and it can move and get in and out of lanes and understand the speeds and understands the stopping distance that it need to take. But hey, That does not mean that there's not a need for Uber. That does not mean that there's not a need for Uber. You may want we may want Waymo, you may want Uber. You can't tell me, oh, Waymo is going to take Uber out of business. Everybody don't want to get into a car that doesn't drive. And some people really feel like they're safer in a car. I mean, everybody don't want to get into a car that doesn't have a driver. And then some people feel like, hey, I feel safer in a car that's going off that's being programmed on what to do. I mean, listen, there is room out there for everybody. Now, here's the thing. What I don't want you to get confused on, because in every revolution, whether it's the Industrial Revolution, whether it's the .com revolution, whether it's the artificial intelligence revolution, it does not matter. Every company is not going to survive. Just sit back and watch this thing. Just sit back and watch this thing. Now, a lot of you guys that are really playing a part in this artificial intelligence revolution, or really witnessing the artificial intelligence revolution right now, you're not old enough to remember the .com revolution and when the .com bubble burst, right? So this is what it looked like when the .com bubble burst. There were plenty of companies out there, and they were starting to create internet companies, .com companies, and angel investors and big time investors were starting to invest into these companies. Angel and I forgot the other kind of investor, but they started putting money behind these companies, and look. At the end of the day, most of them didn't make it. Most of them didn't make it. Google stayed around. Yahoo stayed around. Okay. What happened with Juno? What happened with Juno? Where's AOL right now? Okay. I'm not saying that those guys are out of business. I'm saying that they were major players at one point in time. I remember when I was in school, my college roommate, one of my college roommates, but shout out to my boy Sinclair Skinner. He out there doing this thing in that crypto game right now. So here's the thing. I was in the computer lab. With him late one night and went in there. I went in there to grab him, see what he was doing, whatever the case may be. And I was like, dog, I said, what you doing, man? He said, I'm sending an email to my girlfriend. This was like maybe in 1992. Right? Maybe in 1992, he said he was sending an email to his girlfriend. I said, an email? He said, an email. I said, an email? He said, an email. I was like, an email? What is an email, bro? He said, electronic mail. This was late at night, like 1 o'clock in the night. I'm like, what? Man, let's get out here and go kick it, man. Bottom line is, for those of you who didn't know, email has not been around for a very long time. So that was 1992, 2002, 2012, 2022. We're talking about right at about 33, 34 years at this point, right? What I'm telling you is it takes about 40 years for a revolution to really maximize itself, right? The dot-com bubble, the dot-com bubble really didn't come into play until right around 1996, maybe. I'm just going out there. I'm just going off of my mental experience. Right around 1996, something like that. As a matter of fact, me and my college roommate, Sean Pugh, my boy, you know what I'm saying? My A1 from day one. Look, we were one of the first people. We were one of the first businesses. The business that we created was one of the first businesses that had a .com. We created a .com back in 1990. I want to say 1997, right? Long story, but I'm not going to go into all that. But shout out to Kamate.com. Shout out to Kamate.com, baby. Anyway, what I'm saying is, AI is going to take your job if you don't understand the history, if you don't understand your history. And I'm not talking about black history or white history, Indian history or Asian history. I'm talking about your history. I'm talking about the history of business, baby. I'm talking about the history of the revolutions. I ain't talking about the revolution will not be televised. I'm talking about the industrial. I'm talking about the internet revolution. I'm talking about more specifically the artificial intelligence revolution. Understand that revolutions, they come and not necessarily come and go. They come, and the span of a revolution is really about 30 to 40 years. You saying, hey, this thing is moving so fast. Yeah, it is moving fast. The artificial intelligence revolution is moving fast. But here's the deal. Imagine where it's going to be in 40 years. You're like, oh, 40 years, that's too long. Listen, man, Man went to the moon. Now I know some of you guys gonna say, "Hey, man didn't really go to the moon." Okay, that whatever you want to believe. But what I'm gonna say is, man went to the moon back in the '60s. Man went to the moon back in the '60s using a computer that didn't have the capacity of the cell phone in your pocket today. I'm gonna say that a different way. Your cell phone in your pocket is has a greater capacity than the computer that was used to send man to the moon back in the '60s. Now, again, when I say the '60s, I'm talking about. I don't remember, but I think it's been. I don't know. I don't remember what year it was. But if I just say 60, if I say 65, and we go. We're over 60 years. Well, let me see. Yeah, we're over 60 years. Yeah. 55, yeah, it could very well be 60 years since man went to the moon, and just probably about 2 months ago, man went close to the moon again, right? That span of time. I mean, what I'm telling you is, yes, artificial intelligence is here and it's going to play a major part in business, but at the end of the day, it's only going to be a tool that's going to be used. And what I'm telling you is, those of you guys that want to get in business intelligence, you need to be able to utilize a tool you need to be able to utilize an artificial intelligence tool to become one of the greatest business intelligence reporters, business intelligence developers to ever walk the face of the earth. And that's where I come in. I teach you business intelligence, and I teach you the artificial intelligence tools to use. And I give you I'll allow you to use proprietary tools, proprietary artificial intelligence tools to use in order to become to maximize your efficiencies when it comes to business intelligence and incorporating artificial intelligence. You think I'm playing? You think that all of these things that I'm making up, you go out there and you Google them yourself. And what I'm telling you is, you're gonna find out a lot of what I'm telling you is true. Listen, in 1876, the telephone was brought into play. Man invented the telephone in 1876, 1875, 1874, 1877, 1878, somewhere around there, the telephone came into play, and it gave us a form of communication, right? So from 1876 to, I want to say probably it was it was in the 2000s, the mid 2000s, before we started talking about video on on a telephone. Now the Jetsons had that thing. Now the Jetsons been talking on FaceTime, man. Since I was I don't know, I was probably 3, 4, 5 years old. That thing been going on for a minute. But for the common person, the span of going from having a telephone to a mobile phone, and listen, I bought my first mobile phone. I bought my first mobile phone from a department store back in 1988, and it was in a bag. It was a mobile phone, and it was in a bag. And now everybody's carrying phones in their pockets, right? Now, what did that do? Did that take away from the phones in your homes? Yeah, it took away from some of the phones in your homes. I mean, really, I stopped using the phone in the home a long time ago. But for the most part, people still have phones in their homes. Okay, just because technology advances doesn't mean that the technology that it advanced from is no longer needed. It's not true. As a matter of fact, we found other uses for the telephone line when the mobile phone came into play. What do? We started using it for internet. Now it was dial up and it was real slow, but we did start finding other uses for it, right? And that's what we do. When other technologies come into play, we find other uses for it. But what I'm telling you is, the span of time in which it really takes for technology or a revolution to really develop, I mean, it's at least 40 years. We've been in the artificial intelligence revolution maybe about 2 years at a high peak, maybe 3 years altogether. But at the end of the day, We got about another 37 years before artificial intelligence really do its thing. So if you guys out there saying, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna get into business intelligence because artificial intelligence is gonna take my job, or it's not gonna be a good industry to be in," I'm telling you right now. Where my water at? I wasted most of it. I'm telling you right now. Keep that thought. Hold that mentality. You're not going to get into business intelligence because artificial intelligence is going to take your job. It's not going to allow you to get a job. Keep that thought. And what I'm telling you is, them young players out there, them young players that ain't taking no for an answer, they getting it. And they getting into business intelligence. Them young players under, I'm going to say between 25 and 35, they getting it. Them young players, what they doing is they taking these business intelligence courses. They jumping into Power of the BI, right? And basically they're saying, hey, I don't necessarily have to go to college to become a data analyst, a data scientist, right? And I don't have to go to college to make six figures, right? Whereas all the OGs, all the unks, 35 to 45, and the OGs 45, I guess 45 and up. They going by, you're going about that thing the old way, and you're saying, I'm going to take I got to get a certification. I got to get another degree. Man, listen, how much money has your degree earned you? You got 5 degrees. And you're still trying to make more money. Where these young cats out here, they getting it. And they taking courses like Power of the BI, learning Power of BI. Now here's the thing. Of course, Power BI is a Microsoft product. I don't work for Microsoft. I have contracted with Microsoft, but I don't contract with Microsoft no more. Well, right now anyway. And Microsoft is not a sponsor of this video or any part of Power of the BI, at least as of the recording of this video. Now, with that said, I'm not shooting down an opportunity if Microsoft presents me with something that makes sense. I'm just saying right now, I have no affiliation. But what I do is I teach Power BI in my course, Power of the BI. And I've got some young G's that's like, yo, they out there trying to get that paper, right? And they trying to make as much money as they can without having to spend a dime on tuition. They're trying to make as much money as they can without having to go into the office, right? They're trying to work remote. They're trying to work, 2 and 3 jobs. They're trying to get it, baby. They're trying to get it. So what I'm telling you is, while you're sitting back there acting like, you don't want to get into business intelligence because business intelligence is going to be dominated by artificial intelligence. So you're going to try to find something else to get into. What I'm telling you is artificial intelligence is everywhere. It's everywhere. And business intelligence is going to be within the next 3 years in every industry, in every company, in every department, on every cubicle, right? At least the potential should be. There may be some smaller business that may not be able to adopt as early as then. Now, there are early adopters that have adopted business intelligence with, probably 2-3 years ago. Man, probably 4-5 about 5 years ago was for the early adopters. Now it's becoming more mainstream, but everybody still is not there. Every company right now is not using business intelligence tools, which they're going to, because if they don't use business intelligence tools, they are going to fall behind, right? So what I'm telling you is these young G's, they coming in and they learning business intelligence. And what kind of really bothers, I didn't say really bothers me, but what I think about is the older crew that's been working 10, 15, 20 years, they actually fit better into business intelligence because they already have been working in a specific industry, and then they can bring that skill set, that knowledge of business intelligence into their specific industry. And if they're not at 6 figures, it's going to take them to 6 figures immediately. And if they do it right. And of course, my guys in my course, Power of the BI, they do it right because that's what I teach. But at the end of the day, man, it's all about history. It's all about understanding, the different technologies and the different revolutions that have taken place over time. I mean, even think about the internet. The internet, as I know it, I didn't start using the internet until probably right around from a consumer standpoint in 1995. I got my first computer in 1995. And I got on the internet and I had Juno and I had AOL, I think. I had Juno and AOL. And it was like, doo-doo-doo. And of course it was dial up. It wasn't any high speed or anything like that. But the deal is the internet was actually created around 1969 and it was called ARPANET, right? Now, how many was using ARPANET? How many people even knew what ARPANET was, right? What I'm telling you is from 1969 to right around 1995 or so, ARPANET was in play, but it didn't become a major player, but the web itself didn't become a major player until the mid 1990s. Okay, so again, we're talking about almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. That 40-year number is a real number. Again, I'm telling you, if you're running from AI today, I'm telling you, you're running for, you can put yourself in position to utilize AI. I'm not going to tell you that you can beat AI. I'm not going to tell you that you're running away for nothing. What I'm telling you is that you haven't even seen AI yet. AI is not going to, we're not even going to understand what AI really is going to do for another 40 years. Then we're going to look back and be like, oh, so that's where we was headed. So if you can imagine how fast AI is exploding now, I'm telling you, we're 40 years away. We're 40 years away. And business intelligence itself has not touched the surface of the iceberg. If business intelligence was in the middle of the ocean as an iceberg, we're still down at the very bottom of the iceberg. We're not even close to the top to where if this was the water right here and the iceberg was up here somewhere, we're not even right here. We're still down here when it comes to business intelligence, right? So, when you say, AI is going to take over. Yeah, when BI gets way up here somewhere, maybe. But right now, it's way down here. Okay? And again, business intelligence has about another 35 to 40 years before we really even understand what business intelligence really is. Because we haven't really put it into play definitely in all of the Fortune 500 companies, definitely not in some of the smaller mid-level companies and the mom and pop shops. Come on, man. It is not in play. Okay? So what I'm telling you is there's business opportunities. There are job opportunities. All of them starting at six figures. Okay? Job opportunities, I'm going to say all the jobs are six figures, but opportunities coming out of Power of the BI, opportunities start at six figures for my guys. That's just off top. That's just off top, right? If you're not making $100,000 a year, you're not making $100,000 a year, and you're not taking my course, Power of the BI. It's something totally wrong, right? I'm not gonna say it's something wrong with you. I'm just gonna say that if you're not making $100,000 a year and you're not taking my course, Power of the BI, you just don't want to make $100,000 a year. I'm gonna leave that alone. I digress. But what I will say is this: business intelligence has not touched the surface of the iceberg, right? It just hasn't. And artificial intelligence incorporating into business intelligence, it ain't even close. It ain't even close of how that thing is going to really be able to work together. Okay. Anyway, so man, I'm not even going to keep beating this dead horse. I just wanted to stop by and just give you a little history lesson on part of revolutions that have gone on and taken place. Because here's the thing, man. I remember back in 1999. I remember back in 1999 when all the companies in the United States, really all the companies in the world, if I say all, I'm just going to say maybe 99% of the companies in the world, they were on the fringe of going crazy December 31, 1999, because they thought that all their computers were gonna crash. They thought it was gonna be a computer crash in 1980. They called it the Y2K bug, right? The Y2K, right? All of these guys thought that the computers were gonna crash in 1989 or at 12:01 a.m. at the beginning of the year 2000, because computers were the calendars within a computer only went to 1999. Now, go figure. I don't remember anyone saying that a computer crashed. Definitely not worldwide, right? What I'm saying is we can't, I don't like using the word can't. We shouldn't run around being afraid of new technology. We shouldn't run around being afraid of having to learn something new, something different. And what I'm telling you, that's all artificial intelligence is. Artificial intelligence is just something new, something different. And if you're in business intelligence and you're able to incorporate artificial intelligence into what you do, you are putting yourself in position to maximize out over that $100,000 salary range. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. Right now, if you want to learn Power the BI, or if you want to learn Power BI, which in BI and Power BI is business intelligence. If you want to learn business intelligence in my course, Power the BI at powerthebi.com, all you have to do is comment webinar. Comment webinar, and I'm going to send you a free invitation to my free webinar. I want you to see what Power BI is first. But I'm going to send you an invitation. Just comment webinar, and I'm going to send you an invitation to my free Power BI webinar. Now, if you ain't got time to type webinar, you can just save this video. Save this video and come back to it. Save this video, come back to it, or you can just go straight over to my site at learn.powerofthebi.com/webinar. Again, learn.powerofthebi.com/webinar. And you can just sign up directly, and again, I still have to send you an invitation. But at the end of the day, I think it's beneficial for those that want to advance their careers and want to make $100,000, want to make six figures. But here's the deal, baby. That's all I got for you this evening. I just wanted to stop by and spend a little time with you, share a little knowledge with you, and drop some gems, share some history, and hopefully you got something out of this thing. But here's the deal. Thank you for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.